Good evening, everyone. Does this sound okay at the back? At the front is a bit echoey, so I can't hear that well in front because all the speakers are towards you. Before we begin, we should go for refuge to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha and observe the 5 precepts. So let us, with mindfulness and devotion, with understanding and faith, let us recite the salutation to the Buddha, followed by going for the 3 refuges and the observance of the 5 precepts. Andamayang Buddhasa Bhagavatu Pumbha Bhaganamakarang Karumasi Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Handamayang tisarana gammana patang karomasi Buddhang saranang gacchami Dhammang saranang gacchami Sanghang saranang gacchami Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami Tisarana gammana sampunnang Handamayang pancasika padapatang karomasi Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Adinnādāna Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Kāmesu Miccacara Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Mutsavada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Suramiraya Majjapamadattana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Imani Panca Sikkhapadani Samadhiyami Imani Panca Padani Samadhiyami Imani Panca Sikkhapadani Samadhiyami Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu Sabbe satta sukhi hontu. Welcome to the Friday talk that has been going on in this temple for many, many decades. So many monks, many lay speakers have come to give weekly sharings on the Buddha Dhamma. And I'm very happy to see all of you here this evening to continue with the tradition of teaching and learning here in this very hall. Tonight we have got notes on a few more verses of the Dhammapada. So I'd like young brothers and sisters take out the whole stack and to give to everyone. Is it too far to the back? There are some seats in front, so you'd like to come to the front, please move forward. Yeah. Can you give to the sides and pass it on to the middle so that we can give it row by row so that we can pass on to the middle. Right? And pass it to the back if you have. Okay, can you raise your hands, those who haven't got your notes? Okay, please raise your hands. Okay, for those who have extra, please pass it to those who are keeping their hands up. And there are also those in front here that haven't got the notes. Can we have extra notes here? Okay, well done. For tonight, I'd like to talk on a couple more verses from the collection, the Dhammapada. I've been specially invited by the Buddhist Mahavihara to talk only about Dhammapada. They didn't ask me to talk about anything else, so I have chosen only the verses from this beautiful collection. There are 400 over verses from the Dhammapada being contained in 26 chapters. So tonight I've chosen 2 verses from the first chapter of the Dhammapada called the Yamaka. Yamaka means twin, yeah, Yamaka, yeah, and Vaga means chapter. So this first chapter of the Dhammapada contains 20 verses paired together. So the first and second was spoken by the Buddha that sounds almost alike, but on 2 different occasions. And the third and the fourth also is another pair, and so too 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and so on. So tonight I've chosen the verses 11th and 12th from Yamaka Vaga, the twin verses. So everyone has got the notes already. So let's look at the front page on the original Pali text. As usual, we are going to learn how to pronounce Pali properly. This is very important because Pali language is phonetic. That means it depends on how you pronounce it. If you pronounce it wrongly, it's going to mean something very different. Yeah. So when we do our chanting, it's also very important that we chant with the correct pronunciation. Okay, verses 11 and 12. Let's look at the Pali. Asare saramatino sare chasardasino te sarang nadika chanti micca sankappa gochara. Okay, can you do that? Asare saramatino sare chasardasino te sarang nadiga chanti micca sankappa gochara. Okay, common mistakes. The second line, te sarang. Yeah, not saram. Sarang. Te sarang nadiga chanti. Micca. Sankappa. Gochara. Very good. Okay. The second verse, sarang cha sarato nyatua. Nyatua. Asarang cha asarato. Te sarang adiga chanti. Samma sankappa gochara. During my Form 6 school holidays, I spent some time teaching primary school, so it's good to get that feeling again. Yeah. Now, the meaning in English, look at the translation, of verse 11. The unessential they imagine as essential, yet in the essential they see as unessential. They never realize the essence who entertain such wrong thoughts. Yeah. So what is important, they imagine as not important. But what is not important, they say it's very important. They can never understand the essence of Dhamma if they have such wrong thoughts. Now, these two verses were spoken by the Buddha to Sariputta and Moggallana, not long after they became monks. In fact, about 2 weeks after they became monks, the Buddha said this. So, in the Dhammapada Atthakatha means commentary. Yeah, the Dhammapada verses are very short like that, but you wouldn't know the background and you wouldn't know some of the meanings. Certain words the Buddha used are for poetic reasons. So without the Atthakatha, we will never really know what is meant. So the Atthakatha also gave us the background story of these two verses, and they call it Sariputta Savatu, the story related to Sariputta. And it happened in the capital of Magadha kingdom, Rajgir. In Buddha's time it's called Rajagaha, today it's called Rajgir. Maybe I tell the story a little bit so that you are, have this better appreciation of what the Buddha meant. Now, everyone knows Sariputta? Really? Not bad. Sariputta and his very, very good Dhamma friend, his best Dhamma friend, his name was Moggallana. These two later became the two chief disciples of the Buddha. If you go to the shrine hall, the oldest building in the Buddhist Mahavihara, you can see the Buddha Shakyamuni sitting very regally, elegantly at the middle, very peaceful countenance in the middle. And flanking the Buddha are the two arahants, the two arahants. The one on the Buddha's right, the one when we go in is on the left, but to the Buddha's right, that represents Arahant Sariputta. And the one on the Buddha's left, that represents Arahant Moggallana. So in Theravada temples in Sri Lanka, sometimes in Thailand also, when you go and see the main shrine, the two Arahants Sariputta and Moggallana, they are placed by the side of the Buddha. This is how esteemed these two Arahants have become in our Buddhist religion. Now, this happened through not by coincidence. These two great beings, the Buddha called them Mahanaga. Mahanaga means great beings. Naga means a being. Naga also means elephant. Naga also means serpent. Naga also means dragon. So Naga has many meanings. But the Buddha addressed them as Mahanaga, these two great beings. They have been practicing Dhamma for a very long time. And they have made aspiration for a very long time to gain that preeminence as a future Buddha's chief disciples. Now, aspirations are not just wishful thinking. Yeah, many people have a lot of hopes. Many people have a lot of ambitions. Many people have a lot of desires. Yeah, but aspirations are different from our hopes and expectations. Yeah, you can hope for anything. Yeah, do you have hopes? No? If you don't have hope, it's called hopeless. Yeah, so if people have hopes, and hopes are just desires, just thoughts of wanting this or wanting that. But there is no effort involved. There is no meritorious deed involved in just wishing or desiring. Aspirations are for noble outcomes, noble attainments. And to make those wishes, people who have those aspirations, they make a lot of merits. They cultivate themselves. They practice a lot of Dhamma. So this is what happened to these two beings that were born, Sariputta and Moggallana. In their final birth, they had been having the same aspiration for countless aeons, countless lives. Yeah, for us, we don't have the same aspirations even from day to day. Yeah, even from day to day, the wish and the desire always change. But these two great beings, they have had the same aspiration last their one lifetime, 2 lifetimes, many lifetimes through the aeons. And finally, they encountered Shakyamuni Buddha and became his disciples. But before these two disciples became Shakyamuni's followers, before they encountered the Buddha, they were quite well-to-do. They were from well-to-do families. And both of them were actually a few years older than the Buddha. Yeah, both Sariputta and Moggallana were a few years older than the Buddha. And they lived quite close to each other. Sariputta was born in the village of Nalaka. Nalaka is just 2 kilometers from the prosperous town of Nalanda. Yeah, Nalanda. So where is your hometown? Yeah, Kuala Lumpur. Yeah, you say Kuala Lumpur. You don't say Taman Miharja. Yeah, you say Kuala Lumpur. You don't say Cheras, or you don't say, but you say Kuala Lumpur. Same thing. The whole place is called Nalanda, but a particular village just 2 kilometers from the middle of the market is Nalaka. That was where Sariputta was born. And his best Dhamma friend, Moggallana, was born just a few kilometers from there, 4 kilometers from there, in a village called Kolita, also outside Nalanda. So Nalanda seems to be a place where great beings are born. Yeah? And not only that, the third disciple of the Buddha, Mahakasyapa, was also born nearby. Yeah, was also. So the 3 great disciples of the Buddha, the first, the second, and the third, were born nearby. So for those who go to India on pilgrimage, I will show you where these disciples were born. It's really amazing. It's very near to each other. So this place of Nalanda was very prosperous because of good weather and good soil. It was prosperous because of agriculture. So they were landowners, and they had the luxury of having a good life. They are studying because of the good karma also. They are born as a firstborn, having a good education, born in Brahmin families, and having servants working for them. So they had the time and interest to learn about spiritual matters. So they have benefited from the many teachers that came to Rajagaha. Rajagaha was the capital of Magadha and the center of religious activities. So surrounding Rajagaha, there were 5 hills. So these 2 friends, one day, was in Rajagaha talking to their teacher. The teacher's name was Sanjaya Belatiputta. Now Sanjaya was recorded as one of the 6 teachers that were contemporary of the Buddha. The Buddha was the youngest, but these 6 other teachers were slightly older than the Buddha, and one of them was Sanjaya, and the teacher of Sariputta and Moggallana. And he was a very strange teacher. In the suttas, in what you call the Digha Nikaya, they call him the irregular. Irregular means you cannot catch hold of him. He is, very, slippery. Yeah, in his way of answering, in his teaching, very slippery. In other words, when you ask him something, let's say, is there a beginning of the world or is there an end of the world? He said, if I knew there was a beginning of the world, I would say so. If I knew there wasn't a beginning of the world, I would say so. And he would go on, but I didn't say so. Yeah, neither did I not say so. So at the end of the day, you don't know what he said. So like an eel, you cannot catch him. But he wasn't, like what was portrayed in some of the commentaries, a foolish person. Otherwise, Sariputta and Moggallana, these 2 very wise people, would not be his students. The way he presented about the truth was that I don't want you to be so certain. I want you to investigate. I want you to maintain a sense of equanimity so that you can investigate and not to be led by your beliefs or prejudices or perception. So that was basically Sanjaya's way of teaching his students. But both Sariputta and Moggallana found it as quite inadequate. Yeah? They found the other teachers worse. The other teachers were just giving very strong doctrines and dogma, and both Sariputta and Moggallana just couldn't take beliefs because they have the mind that is basically investigative. They want to investigate, not to believe. So they didn't go to the other 5 teachers who taught various kinds of dogma. Rather, they settled, although not satisfactorily, with Sanjaya Belatthaputta. Now, one day, they were in town in Rajagaha, and there was a festival going on, something like a harvest festival. It was called a Ghangari festival. And these 2, being spiritual people, don't like to join in the fun. You know what is fun in India during festivals? Recently we had a Holi festival in India, Holi, Holi, where they throw all these colored, powders. Spray with water and throw colored powders so that you become green like Incredible Hulk, or blue like Smurfs. They were dancing, they were singing, there was a lot of spontaneous eating and drinking, of course. And because of drinking, there is sure to be arguing. And because of arguing, there's sure to be fighting. There's sure to be the play of dice and other kinds of gambling. And with gambling, there's sure to be losing. And with losing, there's sure to be anger. With anger, there's sure to be quarrels and a lot of things. Festivals, how it is in India. And they did not like this kind of worldly celebration. These 2 are spiritual beings. So they retired to the foothills of Rajagaha. Now this November, I'm going to bring a very special pilgrimage group to Rajagaha to climb all the hills. Because most pilgrimages go through the hills and never climb the hills. So the place where Sariputta and Moggallana, when they see the whole Ghangari festival down there, they had a certain kind of thought, an inspiration where they saw the festival down there. So that happened on the slopes of the hill. And they saw all the festivities, and they saw this is how the world celebrates. This is how people, thousands and tens of thousands of people, they were so into this enjoyment. Just like young people or even older ones, maybe during the countdown to the new year, You can see so loud and so crowded, and people like that. When you come to temple, nobody. Yeah? Can sit here, can meditate from New Year's Eve to the New Year to the dawn. Very few people. Most of them go nearby. The singing and the dancing and all kinds of wriggling, all kinds of physical exertion. People like that. These two beings saw all this and said, well, this is the way of the world. Unfortunately, we cannot figure out the way out of this samsara. We don't know. We want to, but we don't know the way out of dukkha. So they were thinking, Sariputta was thinking, I will continue my quest until I am rid of this samsara, until I free myself from dukkha. And quietly, without speaking to each other, Moggallana also had the same thought. So finally, they looked at each other and said, what were you thinking all the time when all this was going on? You didn't say a word. So Sariputta said, well, this was what I thought. Moggallana said, amazing, I thought the same. Exactly the same as you thought. And they were very happy. He said, that's why we are best spiritual friends. He said, what? They made a pact. He said, we will each go our way. We have spent so many years, 20 years, searching for the truth and cannot find it. We will each go our way, but whoever discovers the way out of samsara, whoever can find the way to the end of dukkha, we shall come back and inform the other. And they make a pact, and they do like this. And then they parted. So a few days later, after the festival, there came the sobering time. Yeah, after a few days of what you call that, this letting loose, people became more sober. And Sariputta came to Rajagaha for some business or another. And as he was going about in the morning, running some of his errands, he saw something that he had never seen before. He saw a monk. Of course, in India, there were lots of monks. Yeah, you can see monks everywhere, real and bogus. Yeah? Everywhere you turn, there are some religious people. But he had never seen someone like that. So calm, so peaceful, so serene, so desirelessness, so desireless, so tranquil, so collected, so composed, so peaceful, so free, so joyful, so happy, so mindful, so aware, walking on the streets of Rajagaha, collecting alms. His eyes were down-gazed, just looking ahead of him. And when people give him some food, he neither look at the food nor the person giving him. Yeah, sometimes you say, 下面俾我咩食啊? 哇，呢個好食啊! Look up and see. 唔該晒啊. Neither look at the food nor look at the person. Just totally equanimous. This is amazing, Sariputta thought. So he was transfixed. Who is this person? Only 20 over years old, so young, but so accomplished. So he said, I want to find out. What is the teaching? Who is his teacher? He's too young to be a teacher himself. He must have a teacher. But he said, oh, this is not the right time because he's still going on alms round. So Sariputta said, why not I follow him at a respectful distance? So he did so. As he followed him, that young monk's name was Asaji. Asaji. And he was one of the early arahants, one of the first few disciples of the Buddha. And he had recently attained enlightenment and just arrived at Rajagaha when the Buddha sent them out. So the first destination, he came to Rajagaha. And he was the one Sariputta saw. So Sariputta saw him collected. He has finished collecting. Then he went out of the city, sat under a tree, took his food. So Sariputta waited. He said, let him finish his food. And as he finished his food and washed his hands, Sariputta said, this is the time. And then he approached this Venerable and said, Venerable Sir, exchange pleasantries, sat down on a low side and asked, Venerable Sir, what is this teaching that you practice? Who is your teacher? What does he teach? Asaji said, oh, I'm very new to this teaching. I don't know much. True enough, he had just been a monk for a few months. And the Buddha taught 2 discourses and he became Arahant. So what he said was true. He didn't know much. Because the Buddha only need to speak 2 times and he already was enlightened. So he told Sariputta, I'm new to this doctrine. I don't know much. I cannot tell you in detail. Sariputta said, nay. No need to tell me in detail. Just tell me the essence. Whatever you tell, I will try to understand. Whatever I understand, that much I will gain. Then Asaji said, well, in that case, okay, I can tell you. You see? He just mentioned the summary of the teachings of the Buddha. He said, Ye Dhamma Hetu Pabhava Tesang Atathagata Tesang Chayo Nirada Evang Vadi Mahasamana. He said like that. Ye Dhamma Hetu Pabhava Tesang Hetung Tathagato Aha. He said, whatever things that arise from a cause, the Tathagata has informed us. He has taught us. Yesang chayo nirodo, as well as the cessation. The cause arises and ceases. Evang vadi mahasamana. This is the teaching of the great ascetic, meaning the Buddha. That was what he said. That was a summary of what he understood the Dhamma. And Sariputta, just like the earth that is baked so dry, with the first drop of the summer rain, he absorbed every molecule of that water. It was a gift of Dhamma, the highest of gifts. And Sariputta understood the Dhamma. Sariputta understood. He said, whatever is of the cause of arising, that is of the condition of ceasing, of cessation. Sariputta understood, and he became a Sotapanna. A Sotapanna means the first stage of sainthood. That verse has been repeated countless thousands of times in Dhamma talks. Yet, not many people have attained Sotapanna after listening to it. Because we haven't got the requisites like Sariputta. The attentiveness, the mindfulness, the devotion, the faith, and also his aspiration from life to life. And he became enlightened to the Dhamma and said, this is it. He had a first glimpse of the way to end suffering and said, this is it, this is it. I've been looking for this 20 over years, this is it. I have now found the beginning of the path to end suffering. So the first thought is, Moggallana. I have to go see my friend Moggallana. So he went back to Nalanda and went straight to the house of Moggallana and told him the same thing. What he learned from Asaji. And hearing the verse, Moggallana also, just like the earth that is so dry, absorbed also every molecule of that Dhamma, and he too became a Sotapanna. So now both Sariputta and Moggallana became Sotapannas. And Moggallana was so overjoyed and said, that's it. We have to go and see the Blessed One who is the teacher of Asaji. So they wanted to go. But Sariputta said, hold on. We should first go to our teacher, Sanjaya Belatiputta. Because we have found the Dhamma. He has taught us so much, but he hasn't found the Dhamma. This is Sariputta, always full of gratitude and appreciation for whatever he has received. The first thought is not about himself, it's about his friend and now about his teacher. So Moggallana agreed. He said, let's go and see our teacher to inform him also that we have found the way to Nibbana. When they went to Sanjaya, explained to him what happened, the encounter between Sariputta and Asaji, and how they have now a glimpse of Nibbana. They are now enlightened to the first stage already. Sanjaya was unmoved. Then again they tried to explain to him. He was again unmoved. So finally they couldn't convince Sanjaya, but they have attracted 500 of Sanjaya's disciples all sitting together. Finally Sanjaya, they asked these two aside, Sariputta and Moggallana, he said, you see, I have been a teacher for so many decades. Now to ask me to become some other people's student, it's very unbecoming. It is like asking a jar to become a cup again. I've been pouring water, like a jar, and now I have to become a cup, meaning that to receive water. Meaning to say, I've been a teacher, I've been teaching so long. Now you want me to be a student to receive other people's teaching? Tak boleh lah. Susah lah. So he refused to go. They tried to convince him one last time. Sanjaya still refused to go. So finally Sanjaya said, in the world there are many, many foolish people. There are only very few wise ones. Let the wise ones go to the Gotama. The fools can come to me. See? And he was content being a teacher, highly respected by his students, but not interested to end suffering. So Sariputta and Moggallana left, no choice, left him, went to the Buddha, but together with a lot of Sanjaya's original students, they followed Sariputta and Moggallana. They went to the bamboo grove, also in Rajagaha, met with the Buddha for the first time, and the Buddha just addressed them, Ehi bhikkhu. He said, come monks. And that was their ordination. Yeah, that was the speediest ordination of any monk. Today they have to go through a lot of ceremonies, but during Buddha's time, he spoke to Sariputta, Ehi bhikkhu, come monks, and they are not already monks. 2 weeks after they met the Buddha taught them Dhamma, and they became Arahants. Moggallana became Arahant first, 7 days after he became a monk. Sariputta became an Arahant 2 weeks after he became a monk. And they related this story of Sanjaya to the Buddha. And the Buddha said, in the unessential they see as essential. In the essential they see as unessential. Such people, they cannot understand the essence of Dhamma because they have wrong thoughts. You see? So, what is unessential? Being a teacher. What is essential? Being free from suffering. Even if you are a teacher like Sanjaya, but you are still caught in suffering, you still haven't found the way out of suffering, that is not important. What is important is Nibbana, is to be free from all suffering. But he gave up the essential in order to cling on to the inessential. Yeah. Today, or not only today, but since ancient times, people have been like that. People like to cling on to the unessential, but let go of the essential. For example, what is more important, happiness or unhappiness? What is more important, happiness or unhappiness? What is more important to you? Happiness. What is more important to you, peace or no peace? Peace. Very good. But when you are in an argument, in a quarrel with someone, you forgot what is more important is happiness and peace. When you are in an argument, you don't care happiness and peace. You just want to win. Correct or not? I just want to win this. I cannot afford to lose this argument. But we forgot. What is more important to us? We have given up peace and happiness. Far more important than winning any argument. We gave that up. Similarly, pride, which is not important. Pride is a defilement. Ego is a defilement. It causes us to act in such a way that brings harm and injury to ourselves. But because of pride, we let go of peace and happiness. We cannot apologize to people. because of pride, although we know wrong already, but kosi I been. Cannot apologize to others, cannot enjoy the peace and the harmony and the happiness. So this is how. In practicing religion also, many people, they don't know the essential practices. They practice the inessential. For example, during Buddha's time, very important, you must engage the right priests to do these rituals. Rituals are very important to them. They don't understand the place of rituals, so they place all their faith in rituals. So the right priest must be invited to conduct these rituals. And the priest must be pure Brahmins from the father's side and the mother's side. And if can go back 7 generations of pure Brahmin, even better. Not mixed with other castes. And then it must be chanted in such a way, no mistake, no errors. And then all the offerings must be enough, must be of the right color and the right amount. So all these unessential things, people feel that it is essential, but they are not essential for ending suffering at all. A lot of our beliefs and practices today also are not essential for ending suffering, but we cling on to all those things. What is important, we never actually understand. So the unessential, many people see as essential. These are very important. But the essential things, they see, these are not important. For example, the practice of precepts. Sila as a foundation of our spiritual progress is very important. From Sila, we lessen our wrongdoings and we practice goodness and virtue. Then the mind is freer and freer from the grip of defilements. And when the grip of defilements loosen, we can apply the mind to meditation more easily, more readily. Meditation is very important. Yoga ve jayati buri. With meditation comes wisdom, with insight. So all these are important practices, but many people think they are not important. So they do the unimportant, but neglect the important things. So because of that, they can never understand the essence of the Dhamma. The essence of the Dhamma is freedom from desire, freedom from attachment. It is peace, it is calmness, it is the taste of liberation. That is the essence of Dhamma, of renunciation and liberation. That is the taste of Dhamma. So a lot of people cannot taste that Dhamma because they have wrong thoughts about what is important and what is not important. Today people are taught various kinds of unimportant things, such as rituals, certain rites, certain rituals, certain beliefs, which are not important at all for their liberation. In fact, they are impediments to liberation. They become a stain to our right understanding. They become a hindrance and an obstacle for our spiritual insight and progress. But people are taught all these kinds of things. The true Dhamma is very often not taught, not shared. So the teachings, for example, on karma also. There is the Buddhist teaching on karma, and there is the non-Buddhist teaching on karma. The teaching of karma is actually very ancient in India. But when the Buddha came about, he did not teach the teaching of karma like those ancient people say. The ancient people, when they talk about karma, essentially they want to be reborn as a, what you call, in a greater condition, in a better condition, in a higher plane, and so on. This is the ancient teaching of karma. But when the Buddha came about, he taught the end of karma. The karma that ends all karma. The karma that frees us, liberates us from samsara. That is uniquely Buddhist. So a lot of times when we talk about all these things, we talk about pre-Buddhistic ideas of karma and samsara and meditation like yoga and so on. But we forgot to talk on the essential things, what is uniquely Buddhist, what the Buddha had discovered, and what distinguishes the Buddha Dhamma, the Buddha Vachana, from all other teachings of the past that is not effective. Yeah. So this is the verse. The Buddha followed by saying, "Sarang ca sarato nyatwa, asarang ca asarato, te sarang adiga chanti, samma sankappa gochara." But what is essential, sarang, what is essential, they understand as essential. What is unessential, they understand as unessential. Such people, they can realize the essence of Dhamma because they have the right thoughts. Yeah? They have the right idea. They have the right concept about practice, about achievement, about Dhamma. You know? So what is essential is what you call the eradication of defilements, freeing ourselves from defilements. For example, in doing dana. Yeah? Doing dana, what is important? Yeah? What is important in doing dana? Yeah? Intention to do dana. Okay? Yeah. And what else is important when doing dana? Dana is very common. I think a lot of people have been doing dana. Yeah? What else is important in doing dana besides intention? Reflection, right? Introspection, looking within ourselves, right? Reflect on how I'm doing dana, with a lot of chaga or not, with a lot of generosity or not, or with a lot of attachment, yeah? With a lot of expectation or without any expectation, with mindfulness or without mindfulness, with understanding or without understanding. Those are important things to consider when we do dana, correct? But many people don't do dana that way. When they do dana, they expect, what do I expect? They expect others to eat. Yeah? When I offer already, stand by to your dish, make sure it's eaten. Not, what zuka puasi. I spend so much time doing the marketing, the preparation, and the cooking, and bringing here and offering, so you better eat more. Yeah, so that's very important. And then also important, how many monks come. Yeah? When we do dana, if one monk or one lay person or any virtuous person, it's a good, because it's about our intention, reflection, introspection. How generous we are, how much right understanding we have, mindfulness and metta and karuna, all those kinds of things, spiritual qualities, freedom from defilements, those are essential in doing dana. But instead of all those things, people focus on how many monks come, who are the monks that come, senior or junior, and what to serve first. Do they say nice things about my food and the setting of the table, and so many dishes, and all the things that give rise perhaps to even defilements, people emphasize. Even give rise to pride and ego, people emphasize. But what reduces ego, destroys ego, that is the real essential practice when it comes to dana. Correct or not? It's the same thing with practicing sila or going on what you call a pilgrimage tour. When you go on pilgrimage, what is important is to go there with a lot of devotion, with a lot of mindfulness, is to go there with understanding, is to worship at the places with gratitude and appreciation of what happened, of the teachings of the Buddha that happened there. It is reflecting on the teachings of the Buddha. It is practicing the teachings of the Buddha. But many people just go, oh, come here. Here, more power. You sit here, more power. You worship here, more power. You see that image is the most powerful. And all these clouds the mind. So in the unessential, they see as essential. These are not taught by the Buddha, not important.
not useful, in fact, a hindrance to liberation from samsara, people say it's important. No wonder population keep increasing. Yes, there's no liberation from wrong views, wrong understanding, wrong thoughts. Therefore, no liberation from suffering. So very importantly, we have to, when we practice Dhamma, to understand the essence is very important. What is the essence in practicing dana? It is to reduce our desires, our wanting. It is to train our generosity. It is to train our selflessness. It is to cut away the impediment of attachment and expectation. It is to wash away the stain of stinginess. It is to share open-handedly with a lot of munificence. It is compassion in action. That is the practice of dana. And that is the practice of sila, morality. And that is the practice of bhavana. It's not to achieve what, but to let go. To let go of the stains, the gripping onto things, the attachment to things. It's just like every breath when we breathe in and breathe out, we let go. And similarly, it's not to, have I achieved that? Maybe next moment, next breath, maybe next day, maybe next minute. That kind of expectations, the lack of mindfulness and so on. Let go, let go, let go. Spirit of renunciation, that is the essence of Dhamma practice. So if we can see the essential as essential, the unessential as unessential, then we have at least some wisdom. There is a degree of wisdom there. Because we need to have a certain degree of wisdom to understand what is essential and not essential. You see? Yeah. So when we talk to people, that's why the Buddha also sometimes, not always, but he said it's very difficult to teach the Dhamma. And this is perhaps what we who have been sharing the Dhamma discover also. When you share with people the essential part, they don't see it because that's the lack of faculty to see it as essential. And it's easier for them to pick on the unessential. Like this Buddha image is, really Sakti. This Buddha image is really got power. And this stone is, from such and such a cave, a very powerful one. They say certain Buddha images they are made of stone or jade, and this jade is in a cave or in the middle of the ocean or in the middle of a lake, and it's taken out and so on. And if I take the water from that lake, also it's blessed. If I wash my head, my face, everything, wash my mouth there also. It's not wash your mouth, After washing the mouth also doesn't mean that it will only say right speech. Wrong speech also will come out. It's the purifying of the mind. Through the sila, purify the action, and through samadhi, you contain the mind, and through bhavana, purify the mind as well. And this is the essential practice. So this Vesak is coming. Ask yourself, what is the essential and what is unessential? Many people are so busy running around doing the unessential, but the essential we neglect. So we always have to ask. That is called reflection. And we also have to check within. Within us, is there any defilements or not? Are we, what you call, shadowed by these defilements? Are we stained by these defilements? We check ourselves. That is called introspection. So, knowing the Dhamma means more and more reflective, more and more introspective. This is the practice, to purify one's mind. Okay? So this is said in relation to Sanjaya, right? And it could be well said of us also. So whether we know the essence or not. Now, the notes there I put unessential things such as rituals and incantations and unprofitable yang tidak menguntungkan kita. It means those that do not lead to spiritual progress and wisdom. Those that do not lead to deeper insights, deeper peace and calmness and mindfulness. So those are unprofitable practices and beliefs. Yeah, there are many kinds of beliefs, and Buddhists also have many kinds of wrong beliefs. Even after we have taken refuge in the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, sometimes we still have beliefs that are not in line with the Buddha Dhamma. The belief of, for example, the power of gods, or the power of certain objects, or power of certain places. During the Buddha's time, it was very common that people go to certain mountains, certain forests, certain rivers in order to bathe. But even today, many Buddhists also, they go to certain places, they wear certain kind of amulets, thinking that if it is chanted this way by this person, it's going to be very, very powerful. And people spend tens of thousands sometimes to acquire such amulets, ask their friends to go hunt for them and chant and place it here, place it there, and so on. Yeah, and during our pilgrimage, we can see there are many Buddhists who go there who bring all kinds of things, belongings, wallets, handbags, iPhones, their clothing items, and so on. And when they go everywhere, Bodh Gaya, they take out their wallet, use their wallet. they go to Sarnath, they do the same. They go to Lumbini, they do the same. And then they throw money, and if the money just land there, wow, what zai liao, they become very excited. Tell me, which of these are taught by the Blessed One? None. Which of these lead us closer to the Dhamma of the Blessed One? None. Which of these very easily is conducive to our arising of wisdom and insight? None. Which of these give us right understanding and liberation from avidya, from ignorance? None. Why, when people say like that, we also do? And they say, you go there, that is a very special monastery, and then if the monk say anything, wow, you're going to, those days there was a word spread around in my teacher's monastery. So people start to come on Thursdays and Fridays and give a lot of food that it's unaccustomed to take so much food, and people give, so that there will be leftovers. And those leftovers, people start to take because they think, wow, it's going to bring them a lot of good luck. And they're old-time Buddhists also, people who have been following for 20, 30 years or so, they fall into that kind of trap. They fall into that kind of beliefs. They cannot free themselves from wrong beliefs and establish right understanding, even after 2-3 decades of hearing or listening to the Dhamma. So my dear friends, it's very important. We must develop right views, right understanding. This is the key in progressing in the Dhamma. Have the courage to abandon all the wrong beliefs and wrong teachings. So just in case, people say. Once I went to Borobudur, and in Borobudur there are many what you call stupas. Inside those perforated stupas, there is the image of the Buddha sitting in the stupa, caged in the stupa. And there was a particular one called Kaket Bhima, where many people locally, they give what you call this legend, marketing actually. It's marketing so that more tourists can come. And they say this one is particularly powerful because so and so put their hand inside the stupa, and when they are able to touch the body of the Buddha, their wishes are granted. So when we went there, the tour guide said like that to everyone. And some people, oh, really? Wow, I want to try. And it was a Buddhist group. So some of them, I saw their expression, wow, really? I want to try. And I got shocked. They want to try because the tourist guide, who is not Buddhist, of course, said, if you touch it, you're able to touch it, it's a great blessing to you. Then I told the group, the Buddhist group, I said, friends, we are Buddhists, right? And we know what the Buddha taught about blessings, right? Yeah, they are enumerated in the discourse on blessings, the Mangala Sutta, which everyone knows how to recite, right? Yeah. Any part of the Mangala Sutta where the Buddha says, touching this, you get blessed. Drinking that, you get blessed. Sitting under this pot, you get blessed. Any part of the sutta says that? No. The Buddha says, periodic hearing of the Dhamma, practicing contentment, respect those who are worthy of respect, being generous, all those bring blessings. Associate with the wise bring blessing. Follow the path of Dhamma, become righteous in the Dhamma, all those bring blessings. The Buddha never mentioned touching this stone. So they say, oh yes, Brother Tan, yeah, you're right, Brother Tan. I say, come on, as Buddhists, we must understand what brings blessing and what does not bring blessing. We must establish right thoughts. Okay, everyone? Yes, Brother Tan. Okay, let's do meditation and circumambulate. So we started meditation, after that circumambulate, because Borobudur is what you call? It's a round, right? Going around. So I started walking, circumambulating the stupa. And when I came around this side, I saw a few members of the group. Look here, look there. Trying to touch. Despite what we said, despite what they knew, we say, just in case. Just in case, touch also. Trapped, hindered, fettered, stained by wrong views, by wrong understanding. The liberation comes with right understanding and the right action. Do the right thing according to the righteousness of the Dhamma, and not do all these things that lead to more superstition. So a lot of people have this fear because they have a lot of ignorance, avidya. So just in case, So when they face with troubles and difficulties, although they have been a Buddhist for a long time, they easily believe in superstition, go for superstitious cures. But when they face with dukkha, they cannot look dukkha in the eye and say the cause of dukkha is ignorance. But when they see dukkha face to face in the eye, quickly they look away. What is the solution? What is the freedom from dukkha? I want to be free now. And they will go on and search for all kinds of things that doesn't work. That is a distraction from understanding. So in the unessential, many people, they see the essential. But in the essential, they don't see the essential. So we have to train ourselves to have right thoughts based on right understanding with wisdom, to see the essence in the Dhamma, the essential as essential. Okay? Yep. So that is the verse 11 and 12. Yeah. Next one is from another chapter. It's called the chapter on the wise, Pandita Vaga. Yeah. Apakate manusesu ye jana paragamino athayang ittara pajja thira meva nudhavati. Okay, can you do this? Apakate manusesu ye jana paragamino athayang ittara pajja tira meva nudhavati. Now look at the meaning there. Apaka means very few. Yeah? Apa means not many. So apaka means few. Yeah? Te means them. Them here refers to manusesu, means amongst humans. Few are they among humans. Ye jana paragamino, that goes to the opposite shore. that goes to the other bank. Yeah? The Buddha mentioned this bank or this shore, 此岸, is equivalent to samsara. Yeah, samsara. Is samsara nice? Yeah. Is samsara nice? Samsara has many nice things. Unfortunately, none of them you can own forever. Unfortunately, none of them you can enjoy forever. There are many nice things, but they are very impermanent. Okay? What are the nice things? Nice feelings, comfort, happiness, joy, feeling of success, exhilaration. Feelings, do they last long? No, they are very fleeting. Yeah? And that includes the feeling of love and being loved. This is not very popular. Yeah? But we want to see love as something permanent and eternal. But that too is impermanent. One day, we have to leave everything we loved and everyone who loves us behind. We have to go on because there is an intervening factor in our enjoyment of life that is called death. Yeah. Death intervenes. All the enjoyment that we have is cut short by death. And even between birth and death, there are lots and lots of unhappy moments also, lots and lots of suffering moments, discomfort, and dis-ease that we have to experience. Yeah. So generally, samsara, it is full of all these ups and downs, and it is unstable and dangerous. The Buddha explained, when you are faced with difficulties, yeah, and if you don't have wisdom, what would you do? Yeah? When we are faced with difficulties and we don't have wisdom, we would try to protect ourselves, right? Protect ourselves by doing something, acting in a way, based on what? Based on lobha, dosa, and moha. When we act to protect ourselves or to promote ourselves or to improve ourselves based on lobha and dosa and moha, we accumulate a lot of actions. That is papaka karma. Papa karma means a lot of unwholesome actions. Unwholesome actions will have unwholesome results. You know, the result is unpleasantness, suffering, discomfort. And that is why, although we want happiness, but we create conditions for our future unhappiness. That is when we don't have wisdom. Yeah, we want happiness. I think when I ask everyone here will agree, yes, I want happiness. But the way we behave, the way we act, brings about conditions for future unhappiness. And this is all because of ignorance, because of all the challenges we face in samsara. That's why the Buddha says, Kichang machana jivitang. Difficult it is to live a human life, the life of a mortal. 做人勤苦無？做人辛苦冇？幾辛苦下？It's quite full of challenges. So how we live will determine our future. And our future is also in samsara. So no matter how difficult we have passed one life, when we are reborn, where are we? Same place, samsara. In a different realm, but in the same bank on this side, samsara. So that's why the Buddha taught us, go beyond. Gate, paragate. Gate means go. Paragate means go beyond. Go to the other shore, to the opposite shore. The opposite shore, the opposite of samsara. It is called freedom from suffering. Free from suffering because it is free from the causes of suffering. And the causes of suffering is called vana. Vana means attachment. Yeah? Upadana or vana. Yeah? Freedom from suffering, freedom from the cause of suffering, which is attachment, is called nirvana. Nibbana is the other shore. Samsara is this shore. Yeah? So many people learn Dhamma, they have heard of, the other shore, free from suffering, free from causes of suffering, and I want to strive to go there. But the Buddha says, many people do not cross over. In fact, so few, very few among humans cross over to the other shore. Atayang itara paja tira mevanu davati. But the rest of mankind merely run up and down this bank. Okay? This bank, imagine, is samsara. The other shore is nibbana. Yeah? So everyone wants to be free from suffering. I want to go over to the other shore, to the other shore. But because they don't see the essential practices as essential, many people start by doing and get caught up in unessential things, that although they want to cross over to the other shore, they end up running up and down this bank. Yeah? Imagine you have come to a flooded channel, and then this side is really, really dusty and dangerous. It's really hot, and there is no food, and it is full of suffering. And you see the other side, green, lush, and people there are free, people there asking, come over, come over. You can see them from a distance. You can hear they are beckoning you to come over. You know? So although we want to go over, but many people end up just running up and down this bank without plunging in and swimming or paddling or taking a ferry ride over. Yeah. They just run up and down looking for way to go over, and sometimes when they run around looking for ways to go over, they get distracted. For example, they run up and down the bank, they want to look for a sampan. So look here, no sampan, look there, no sampan, run a bit to the front, no sampan, but they came to a store. Yeah, it's called a mall. Yeah, and they say, oh, maybe I go into the mall and see whether there's sampan or not. So when they went into the mall, there's no sampan but got handbag. And it's on sale. 70% off. So forgot about the sampan, buy handbag instead. So running up and down, easy to get distracted. Papansa birata paja. It is so easily to get distracted, so caught up in the world. So we started off, many people wanted to practice. I want to end suffering, Brother Tan. Really? I really want to end suffering. Yeah. So, okay. So can you share with me the way? I said, it's not my way. It's what the Buddha said. This is the Buddha's way. There are 37 factors that leads to enlightenment. 37 factors that gives rise to conditions for enlightenment. It's called Bodhipakya Dhamma. If we cultivate these 37 factors, we are closer and closer to the goal, to crossing over. Okay, I want to learn. So they started learning. After a few weeks, and hey, how is your learning? Oh, lately very busy, Brother Tan. Got a few assignments, but after March, it's okay, Brother Tan. I have time already. Okay. Then April, we call them. So now it's after March already. Are you okay? Can continue the practice? Oh, Vesak coming, Brother Tan. Next May, I'm busy. I have a lot of duties and assignments, Brother Tan. Okay. After Vesak, already June. Oh, I'm posted somewhere else, Brother Tan. Posted here, posted there, but address is samsara. See? Postcode samsara. So, not free. So, very few people actually cross over. So, this is said by the Buddha in relation to a group of people who came to do a Mahasangika Dana. They heard the Dhamma and they were so inspired. And the village elders, this is a village just outside Savatthi, and the village elders said that, wow, this Dhamma is really, really good. We have never heard such a way of practice. And everyone had this enthusiasm. Everyone was sangat membara, that desire for Nibbana. Oh, very charged up. And they decided, we shall invite monks from Jetavana, from the monastery nearby. We have a Sangika Dana in the morning, and then all of us for one day and one night don't work, but devote our one day and one night to spiritual practice, to cultivation. So they agreed, they cooked, They invited monks from Jetavana. Many of them are arahants, invited one after another. And after one monk finished teaching, they went back, another monk continued. So these people in the village, about this many, they decided we are going to spend 1 day and 1 night fully in the Dhamma. Yeah? Because the Buddha said, if you spend a day in your life devoted to the Dhamma, being able to see the arising and passing away of phenomena, pasata udaya bhyayang, can see the arising and passing away of Dhamma. Or pasato Dhamma muttamang, you can see the ultimate reality of life, that is anicca, 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 impermanence. Or you can see dukkha, dukkha, unsatisfactoriness. Or you can see anatta, anatta. There is no self, no self. If you spend 1 day so devoted to the Dhamma and you achieve this insight, then your life is more profitable than you would have lived 100 years without being able to see that brief glimpse of Dhamma. Wow, many people were very, very excited already. I too was caught up in that excitement. During the holidays, my university days, many people went home for their holidays, and I decided this is a good opportunity. I shall stay in a hostel. I shall not go on holiday. I shall not go home. I shall practice the Dhamma for 7 days and 7 nights. Yeah? So if I attain arahatship, then I can stop university study and begin my new career as arahant or something like that. Very nicely thought out, this plan, this career change. Yeah. So I didn't go home. I practiced. It was really lovely. Everyone went home. Not much food to eat. All the shops, most of the shops were closed. Only one coffee shop remained open. I went down there, bought something, breakfast and lunch, brought it up and ate it there. I didn't eat anywhere else outside. And whole day spent in the room, in the living area. Whole day, just walking, sitting, walking, sitting. And then when get a bit tired, read some Dhamma and walking, sitting, walking. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Fantastic. It's really wonderful. So really charge up spiritually. So too the people in Savatthi, they all wanted to do the same. And the Buddha said, if you can spend 1 day, 1 night seeing the Dhamma, that's it. Your life has been worth it. Your long samsaric existence, full of unsatisfactoriness, will come to an end eventually if you just see the Dhamma. So people were all very excited. Unfortunately, as the day went on, and monk after monk come and give talks. Some of them give really deep talks. Some of them give very, very beautiful talks, very poetic talks. People start to, drift away. Their minds start to drift away. They think of home already. If this talk goes on and on, you will also drift away. They decided 1 day and 1 night, we will not go home. We will all sit together in the village square. We will devote ourselves 1 day and 1 night to Dhamma. Unfortunately, by the few talks later, half the people already left. The other half were sleeping, nodding. Only very few were maintaining their attentiveness. Some were sitting and chatting with each other. Some were looking at the stars. Some were looking at dogs, at chicken, at goats. Some are looking at others. Some are wondering, going back to a memory of the past. Some are thinking about the future. After all this suffering is done, I'm going to go to my field. I'm going to harvest. I'm going to visit my friend. I'm going to talk to them. They have plans for the future. They have memories of the past. Nobody stay at the present moment. The body may still be there, but the mind has drifted off. So when we listen to Dhamma, also the same thing. Only looking, anticipating things, or comparing with the past, or expecting something. We never stay at the present moment. If everyone stay at the present moment, there's not much of a problem. What problem do you have now at the present moment? Do you have any problem? No? Are you alive? Breathing? Can breathe? Any problem? No, no problem. But when we think, oh, Monday, Monday I have to go to settle this thing and so on and so forth, and then start to have problem already. This thing still unresolved. Suddenly think, oh, Monday is actually a public holiday. So postpone it to Tuesday. Oh, Tuesday I have to do this. Then think of this afternoon, think of this morning, think of what happened on the way here. When we drift off to the future or back to the past, this is where all the problems start cropping up. At the moment, at the present, it is akalika, it is timeless. There is a timeless quality to the present moment. And that is why arahants, they always live in the present moment. And that is why they realize the Dhamma, which is akaliko, Dhammo akaliko. There is timelessness at the present moment. Moment to moment, it is no pressure, no stress. When you think about the past, compare to the past, anticipate the future, expect things to happen, this is when the stress starts to come in. Yeah? So the people started to drift, the mind started to drift, and physically also some went home. Something of having a cup of tea, they left. Something of eating, they left. Something of sleeping, they left. Something of gambling, they left. Something of singing and dancing, they left. Something of going here and there, they left. Hitter and thither they went. So when they have decided we want to strive for crossing over from ignorance to wisdom. We want to cross over from darkness to light. We want to cross over from stress to no stress. We want to cross over from dis-ease to ease. We want to cross over from discomfort to comfort. We want to cross over from suffering to no suffering. All of them desire to cross over from suffering to non-suffering. But as the teaching and the practice goes on, they drift back to suffering. Everyone started to drift back to suffering. So that's why the Buddha says, few among men and women cross over to the other shore. Most people just run up and down on this bank. We want to do so many things to be free from suffering. So we do a lot of things, but we haven't even started plunging into the Dhamma, taking the strides to cross over to the other shore. Yeah? So very few. Of course there are. Of course there were and there are people who have taken the plunge into the Dhamma. Plunging into the Dhamma. But many people held back because they have too many worldly concerns. So much of desires, ambitions, attachment, craving, and all these ideas that they have, they don't plunge into the Dhamma. And therefore, they run up and down this bank. But eventually, when we tire ourselves running, then we will discover, so much suffering, so much suffering, so much suffering. When we are young, we don't think of suffering as suffering. But when we age, we really see, so much suffering. But then, it's too little time. And then, no energy. And then, too late. And then, die. And start all over again and repeat the process. Press, repeat, reset, but repeat the button. So never really plunge in. Life after life also never really plunge in. Never really take the courage. I plunge into the Dhamma. Many people want to practice Dhamma. Many people want to be successful in the Dhamma. Enough suffering, we say. We want to be free from suffering. So the Buddha said, plunge into the Dhamma. Yes, I want to plunge in. I want to learn how to swim across this flood of sensuality. But as I swim, I don't want to get my hair wet. My face, my neck, my body cannot be wet. How to swim? When we want to swim across the flood of sensuality, we have to plunge in. But when we say, my hair, I just reset only, I don't want to upset because it costs a lot to reset. And my face, I just went for a, what you call, correction. I don't want to spoil it. And, I've just got this done. Cannot plunge in. So all this worldliness, all these worldly concerns pull us back. And therefore, very few do cross over. Yeah. So this is the meaning. Yeah. But the Buddha did say, samadhakate dhamme, dhammanu vatino te jana parimesanti machu deyang suduttarang. This is the next verse, which is not inside. He said, but those people who practice in conformity to the Dhamma, they cultivate themselves the 37 factors that leads to insight and wisdom, that gets them closer to enlightenment. They plunge into the Dhamma. Eventually, they succeed in crossing over to Nibbana. So this shore is equivalent to samsara. The other shore is Nibbana. Yeah. So from time immemorial, very few beings, few among men, but here humans, are the most advantageous, are the most fortunate birth when it comes to Dhamma realization. Human beings are very, very fortunate. They have this mind that are able to discern the Dhamma and really free the mind from defilements. So of all the realms, the human realm is the most fortunate. But then also, few among humans, few among men take the plunge and cross over. But those that take the plunge, those that follow the cultivation of the noble path, they succeed in crossing over and attain the peace, the tranquility, the freedom and the liberation of Nibbana, which is so difficult to attain. Okay? So these are the 3 verses to encourage us. Number 1, to have right thoughts based on right understanding, to have the courage to abandon wrong beliefs, and to have the wisdom to see the essential as essential and the unessential as unessential, and act according to that right understanding. Sometimes we have academic understanding, but we do not act on the right understanding, and therefore there is no practice. When we just understand something without following it through, without acting on it, there is no practice. Practice means have the right view, have the right understanding, and have the right thought, and followed by the right action and the right way of living. The right way of living in accordance to Dhamma, in accordance to right understanding, that is called practice. Okay? So practice is living in accordance to Dhamma, based on right view. Okay? So have the courage to do that. And just have the confidence also that if we take the plunge and if we follow through the practice, we are going to reach the other shore successfully, and we are going to attain the peace and the freedom from suffering. All right? So we leave a lot of time tonight for questions. I noticed that for the past few sessions, because of the number of verses, there are many, so we didn't have enough time for questions. So tonight we have some time left for questions and discussions. Okay? Everyone understood the verses? Okay. Let's read the verses again in English, verse 11 and 12, in English. The unessential they imagine as essential, yet in the essential they see as unessential. They never realize the essence who entertain such wrong thoughts. What is essential they understood as essential. What is unessential they regard as unessential. They would realize the essence who entertain such right thoughts. Few are those amongst men who cross over to the other shore. The rest of mankind merely run along this bank. Okay? Many also run to the bank. Yeah? All right, so now let's open for discussions and questions. Yes, sister? Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. The question was how, if I get it correctly, because I heard it very vainly here. How do you persuade or help someone who has these wrong beliefs and ideas, especially like funerals and so on, right? Is that so? How do you help someone? How do you correct them if they have such wrong beliefs? And you mentioned at the end, it is due to not understanding. I think that is the key. We have to first identify the cause, not understanding. Because we do not understand, we have a lot of fear. Not understanding means having ignorance. And the result of having ignorance is also fear. Fear of the unknown, yeah? That is very deep and very pervasive. For example, things to do with death. Yeah, we don't know death, because we only experience death but once. Yeah, so we don't have many experiences of death personally. So many people fear death. What will happen to them? What is the process? So that fear is what you call reinforced by what they hear about death, So there are a lot of teachings about death. Other religions also teach about death and what happens before you die, and what happens after you die, and where do you go, what's your destination. So people learn all that kind of thing and develop beliefs. Yeah, these beliefs are beliefs. They are not understanding. They are just what you believe. So, some people don't know what to believe, and therefore they just follow whatever superstition there is. The Chinese, for example, have a lot of things pantang one when it comes to death, right? For example, when it comes to sending off the coffin, very often they say certain people cannot see. Everyone cannot see. In fact, everyone has to turn their back. Because many people, they do that because they have a lot of fear, just in case there's bad luck. So they say those that are born in the year of the rat, the ox, the tiger, and everyone else, please turn your back. And during my relatives' funerals, the funeral, what do you call that? Undertakers, they also do that kind of thing, And I told my relatives also, I said, come on, this is our relative. We know him for so many, since he was a young man, we already know him. He's not going to harm us. He cannot harm us. Look at him, he's so harmless now. So very harmless, right? He has no intention of harming us. And by seeing him off, we are not going to get any bad luck, So that is respect. That is his final journey. Let's, in fact, not turn our back towards him. Let's all carry him. I said, wow, so that's very radical for Chinese. And we did that. We did that for our relatives. We did that happily. No bad luck. A lot of good merits. No bad luck. But when you share this with people, they cannot accept, because fear is a very powerful defilement. Fear is very deep-seated, because when we have ignorance, there's nothing to support it. So any of this belief that causes fear goes very deep inside. So although with a lot of what you call understanding, or even practice of the Dhamma, or even understanding of the Dhamma, there is this fear that operates in many minds. So if our friends or relatives have this, support their learning first. Don't fret if they still give in to fear and superstition. Be understanding, because we need to build their understanding. We need to build the confidence with understanding before they can slowly be free from fear and superstition. So let's be a guide and a teacher and a good Dhamma friend to our relatives and friends. Give them the understanding first. Just tell, oh, there's no bad luck and so on. And if they ask you, how do you know? Okay. Yeah. How do you know? Yeah. This is where we are caught. How do we know? And because people ask us, how do we know? Then we discover our own ignorance. Actually, I don't know. See? So that gives us the clue. Since we don't know, let's find out. Let's learn. Okay? Let's learn. That's what being Buddhist is about, learning. That's what learn. When people ask us and we don't know, that's our simple duty, that's to learn. So the next funeral you can answer. When people ask you the next time, you say, oh, it is like that. They ask you another question, you still cannot answer, then you learn some more. So as we learn, as we gain understanding, this fear also slowly loses its potency. Fear is not very deep. Some stain of superstition there may remain. But as we learn more, we gain confidence. It turns into saddha. It turns confidence with wisdom. That's called saddha. Confidence with understanding is called saddha. And that saddha is going to protect us. So protect us from what? Protect us from ignorance. Protect us from ignorance and therefore protect us from fear. When we have no ignorance, we have no fear. See? And so this is how we can support our relatives and friends, by learning and by, encouraging them to learn the right things. Okay? Yeah. Of course, there are those also who are very responsive, those who are very accepting to our sharing. There are certain relatives, when we share with them, they say, oh, like that, okay, we will follow this way. So you can help those more easily. But there are those who are not responsive, those that are not accepting. So you just build their understanding first. And don't fret, don't get frustrated if they still cannot abandon that superstition and that fear. Just be understanding and have a lot of patience and karuna or compassion. Okay, sister? Thank you. Does that help? Yep, good. Yes.
Okay, Brother Tam, Vesak Day is coming. Vesak Day is coming, and I did invite my friend to attend a Dhamma talk. Then my friend first question: is there a Buddha bathing? Okay, and it comes to my sense that actually, what's the significance of Buddha bathing? Is Buddha bathing essential or unessential?
Is there any doctor in the room?
Is there any doctor in the room, please? Doctor? Any doctor? Is there a doctor? Medical doctor? Or a nurse? Someone? Yes. Okay. Yeah, that side. See. Okay. So thank you for the question. Is there Buddha bathing? And can you finish the last sentence, please? Yeah.
Is Buddha bathing essential or unessential? If it's essential, what's the significance of Buddha bathing?
Wow, this is a loaded question. And it's on camera. Buddha bathing, this ceremony of Buddha bathing initially reminds a person of the importance of purifying oneself. You know, the water represents the Dhamma, and the image represents the mind. We call it the mind body. Yeah, mind body is the actor of thoughts, of speech, and of conduct. So the Dhamma, symbolized by the water, is poured over this image, yeah, mind body, symbolizing practice the Dhamma, apply the Dhamma, reflect on the Dhamma, use the Dhamma, live in the Dhamma in order to conduct ourselves harmlessly and wholesomely in body, speech, and mind. This is the initial, what you call symbolism of bathing that image. Yeah? Over time, that becomes not properly understood. So some people say, you bathe this image cannot. No? Another image must be used. That one only effective. Some people say, this water cannot. Must put 7 types of flowers, different colors, then effective. And people say, ladle cannot. Must use wooden ladle, metal one cannot. So all kinds of things, because people misunderstood, not properly understand the meaning or the symbolism of it, you see. So even when the Buddha was alive, during Vesak, nobody go and bathe him. Yeah? Nobody pour water over his head or his hands and so on. It's just symbolism, something that people devise as a way to teach others, to reflect on the need to purify our conduct, our speech, and our thoughts. The mind body symbolized by that. Okay? So, if you ask whether it is an essential practice, it is not a practice at all, especially when you don't understand the significance. Yeah? But for some people, they even misunderstand the whole concept of it. And therefore, after bathing the image, they take the water home. And then those days we have bathtubs. Nowadays it's more difficult. We all shower. In those days we will pour the water we get from the temple into the bathtub and mix it up. And everyone is supposed to take a bathing from there. Nowadays no bathtub. It's difficult. You have to put in a water tank. And I heard this from a venerable. In Hong Kong. It's very, very advanced. When you go there, when you step onto a plate which looks like a lotus, and then you step there and you put this, and then automatically when you step, the water will spray onto the image, and the LED lights will come out and the music, So you just step there and then, okay? And then if you put money, more light will come out. So the whole meaning is lost in translation. So this is an example of showing what is needed is purifying our conduct. Yeah? What is needed is that great mindfulness, that calmness, that wisdom, that determination to live in the Dhamma. What is needed is that is essential. But what we are doing are all the rest. We are doing the rest. Okay? So this is one great example. So come Vesak Day, what is essential, we also do. Okay? So back in Serdang, we have never bathed the Buddha before. We have never had that kind of ceremony. What we have is teaching, meditation, sutta discussion, blood donation. You can give and give and give. You can offer food. You can cook and offer others. You can offer 20 people food, 30 people food before the procession. So this is what we do, trying to get people to see the essential and the benefit of doing that. After they learn and then they do it, after they hear the Dhamma and they practice it, oh, this is mindfulness. Immediately you can sit in the afternoon session, and in the evening you can help in doing dana, you can help clean up. Immediately they feel the benefit. Yeah, so this is essential. So there is very important, I feel. I think I have to emphasize this. It's very crucial that we come back to what the Buddha teach, rather than inventing new things using the Buddha's words, but our own invention. We have to come back to what the Buddha said about life and dukkha and the cause of dukkha, and the cessation of dukkha and the way to the cessation of dukkha. Rather than, okay, the Buddha talked about dukkha, but I don't want to talk about dukkha, I want to talk about sukha. So I think we have to be very honest and sincere in revisiting the words of the Buddha. So this year, July 1st, we have the opportunity to discuss this in the Vajana conference. So the theme of the conference is the Buddha Vajana, discovering the essential, to discover what the Buddha said and what is the essential. So you might want to consider that. Okay? Right? Yes.
It's not a question, but kind of a request. The last year I understand from the group, we have this good camp, and they benefited a lot. Whether you would consider doing one for the senior. Since I mentioned we are running out of time of energy.
Yes.
Thank
Thank you. How many seniors are interested in having a Dhamma camp? Few among them join the camp. The rest of mankind just pass it over. So we will consider that. We had one last March, and it was marvelous. We had a 4-day camp for seniors. And we saw the effect on the seniors. They all became 25 years younger. So we thought we want to do for the youths, and we had one in July for the youths, following the senior camp, and we are going to have another camp in September for the youths. But we will try to fit in a Dhamma camp for the seniors. The theme of the camp is living in the Dhamma, how to act, how to live, how to make decisions in the day that reflect the Dhamma, rather than try to apply the Dhamma in a very unnatural way, but how to be guided by the Dhamma from hour to hour, from minute to minute, from second to second. How to be in the Dhamma at the very present moment. Okay, so that is the benefit of the camp. We'll consider that. Thank you. Sister? Senior means above 80. Yeah? Okay. Well, senior means whoever is above junior. Okay. Right. Okay. Are there any other questions on Dhamma? Yeah. Yes. Yes, very good question. Taking the plunge, does it mean we have to renounce? No, the Dhamma is about renunciation. The whole point of Dhamma, the essence of Dhamma, is about not accumulating, not habitually strengthening the causes of suffering. And the causes of suffering are craving and attachment, tanha and upadana. And in order not to deepen into tanha and upadana, the practice is renunciation. So it's true. Dhamma is about renunciation. But Many people have the idea that renunciation means becoming a monk, renouncing the home life to become a monastic. This is one of the 5 renunciations. You see? The external renunciation. The Buddha also taught the internal renunciation, which are far more important. Internal renunciation includes upholding morality. When we keep the 5 precepts or the 8 precepts or the 10 precepts, what we give up, what we renounce are unwholesome deeds, unwholesome speech, and unwholesome intentions. That internal renunciation gives life to spirituality. That renunciation gives lightness to our practice. It gives condition for the wisdom to grow. So that renunciation is important. Another form of renunciation is called mindfulness and awareness. Mindful awareness, living in the present. What do we renounce? We renounce attachment and clinging to the past. We renounce craving and expectation of the future. More and more throughout the day, we live at the present moment. That is a far greater renunciation. Yeah? So the spirit of Dhamma is renunciation. Okay? So first, renounce all the defiling things. For example, enmity. Do you have enmity? Have enemies or not? How many official ones? How many unofficial ones? How many potential ones? Renounce all of them. Any grudges? Yeah? Grudges from 5 years ago? Anyone? 10 years ago? Anyone? 20-year grudges? God. 50-year grudges? God. Someone did this to me in 1955. Pre-Merdeka. Pre-Merdeka grudge. God. God. Renounce all of them. Yeah? Then gross things. Wow, craving for this, like a gluttony. Eating non-stop, eating more and more. Full already, but because of the taste, we want renounce that. What else? Jealousy. Got jealousy or not? God. Useful or not jealousy? Harmful or useful? Painful or cheerful? Happy or unhappy? Unhappy. Should renounce or not? Should. Have renounced or not? Oh, very good. In process. Very good answer. Taking the plunge. Yeah? Yes. Those are the things we should renounce. Now, my dear friends, after we renounce enmity, grudges, envy, jealousy, craving, gluttony, greed, what happens to our life? Light or heavy? Happy or unhappy? Bright or dark? Wholesome or unwholesome? Joyful or depressing? You see? Immediate effect in this very life. Sanditika akalika. This very life we experience. So the essence of Dhamma practice is giving up defilements. Why? Because the defilements are the causes of dukkha. When we give up the occurrence of dukkha. Okay? So anything you practice in Dhamma, the Buddha taught so many things. Anything you pick up and practice is going to lead to greater good, spiritual good. But if you want to finish samsara, want to cross over to the other shore safely, then you don't just pick this up and practice, pick that up and practice. The way to practice in order to cross over, to attain Nibbana, is not doing what we like, but doing step by step the way that leads us forward to the other shore. Not pick and choose. Some people, they like to do dana, so any dana, Sangika dana, Maha Sangika dana, Maha Sangika dana, Mega Maha Sangika dana, They do. But you ask them to bhavana practice, oh, cannot meditate. Kaki sakit, tangan sakit, hati sakit, badan sakit, semua sakit, tak boleh. Panas-panas tak boleh. Semua panas. Pick and choose. You have here and there, happy moments, but lots and lots of unresolved dukkha also. If we want to cross over, then it is called Dhammano Dhamma Patipatti, the practice of Dhamma that is gradual and progressive, step by step, the sure way, the Buddha says. Anubhubena medhavi, toka tokang khane, kamaro rajata seva, nidame malamatano. Anubhubena, step by step, in a gradual but in a certain fashion. Yeah, you practice the Dhamma. Take it up as we are ready. Take it up step by step and moment to moment. Just like purifying a certain metal like gold or silver, there are steps in doing that. Not do this step and do that step. Not do whatever we like. In order to achieve the purity of the gold or the silver, just follow these steps. In order to achieve the purity of the mind and conduct, just follow these steps. And these steps are the steps taught by the Buddha. Yeah? So the essence, the feel of Dhamma is renunciation. Okay? And many people feel, oh, I cannot renounce because it's full of pain. Renunciation is very painful. It's not. Renunciation is very cheerful. Yeah? If you renounce the wrong thing, it's going to be very painful. If you renounce it properly, according to the teachings of the Buddha, it's going to be cheerful. Okay? I give example. When during the novitiate program, when you are, shaven and become a temporary monk or a temporary nun, okay, we practice external and internal renunciation. What do we renounce? We renounce craving for food. We renounce attachment to food. Not we renounce fried chicken. So when people serve fried chicken and we renounce fried chicken because we cannot, I cannot take fried chicken, but we haven't renounced greed, that's painful. See? That's painful. So our renunciation is not fried chicken. Our renunciation is attachment and craving for food, for any food. So if we have practiced the right kind of renunciation, if we give up craving and attachment, it doesn't matter what they parade in front of you. See? If they only serve the fried chicken to the chief monk and not to you because you're a junior monk, it doesn't matter. We live free. It's very cheerful. But when they only serve the senior monks and not serve the junior monks, and you see you haven't renounced craving, that's very painful. See? So when we renounce all the defilements, the causes of suffering, that renunciation is going to lead us to great cheerfulness, great joy, happiness, relief. Wow, what a relief. Wow, no worries. Wow, no anxiety. Wow, no fear. Wow, no depression. Wow, no craziness. Wow, tak gila. Some people become really obsessed. No obsession, you're free. So that renunciation is important, okay? But have the right understanding about renunciation, not just the external one, but start with the internal one, okay? So with that, I'd like to end tonight's talk. And hopefully everyone already got the essence of the Dhamma, the essence of how to practice. May all be well, be happy, and welcome and celebrate and observe the coming Vesak Purnima. We call it Buddha Day, Buddha Jayanti or Buddha Day. Observe it with essential practice and right understanding. May all beings sharing these merits be well, happy, and peaceful. Sabbe Satta Sukhi Hontu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Itavata ca ammehi sambataṃ punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya itavata ca ammehi Sambataṃ punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya etavata ca ammehi sambataṃ punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu Sabba sampatti siddhya idang me ñātinang hotu sukita hontu ñantayo idang me ñātinang hotu sukita hontu ñantayo idang me ñātinang hotu Sukita hontu ñātayo Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu